Welcome to the Jeff Hilliard Show.
What's up?
Yes, I told you, I've been threatening I'm going to have a guest. This is so great. I have Abby. Now, I probably will pronounce everyone's last name incorrectly. I've known Abby forever. Roberge.
Nailed it, dude.
Nice.
Nailed it.
I was for sure going, because I've done that my whole life, is screw up everyone's name because I'm not that bright. Frontal lobe damage, dropped to my head really hard. It's not about me, though. I got Abby here. Abby is an amazing, funny comedian, a rising star.
Hell yeah, dude. Rising star, god damn it.
And you grew up in, Canada, right?
I sure did, dude.
Where at in Canada?
Okay. First of all, it's none of your business, and I don't want to do this podcast anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
That's how I like to start out. You're my first guest, so as long as it flatlines really bad.
No, I just thought it'd be such a funny bit to be like the worst interviewee ever, where you just don't answer any questions and just are completely.
It might
shut
work
off.
for this. You just stare at me the whole time, and I just keep asking questions.
Right.
You grew up in Canada.
Yeah, I grew up in Canada. I was born in Pennsylvania on an Amish farm. You know Amish people?
Yeah, I do. I've driven through.
Nice.
You
look like you could fit in.
Yeah, I have. Actually, on my father's side, way back.
You look like you got a Dwight Schrute somewhere in your family.
Definitely, I do. I had a Quaker.
Yeah, dude.
So one of my great grandfathers is William Brewster, who was the
I know the Brewster family,
the senior member on the Mayflower.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm basically fucking royalty of America. I just figured that out. I just labeled that. It's important that I tell people.
Wow, dude, you sound kind of like a white supremacist.
I'm close. No, I have, but the rest of it's like Irish. The rest of it's very oppressed.
Okay.
But they were leaving persecution.
Okay.
Yeah. But there were pilgrims. I mean, you're in that terrible outfit. So you grew up in Pennsylvania.
No. So I was born in Pennsylvania. I have no memory or recollection of Pennsylvania. So I was born in Pennsylvania on a Amish farm. My family wasn't Amish at all.
Are Quakers and Amish, are they like related in their stuff?
I think so. So like they were just like my parents were just cheap. They didn't want to pay for the hospital. It was cheaper to have the Amish midwives give birth. Because I was
so did your mother have no medication? Just she
I don't think so. No. Wow. I think it was kind of a no medication situation.
Like the cheapest way to do it. So she's a trooper. So then you moved. You guys had
So when I was like cheap. 6, yeah. So we lived on a Hare Krishna commune there, which was next door to the Amish farm. It was like a Hare Krishna commune, Amish farm surrounded by like crazy rednecks, right?
Which is kind of funny. If you're a Hare Krishna, you're saying the rednecks are crazy, which is great.
Yeah, Hare Krishnas are crazy too.
This is perfect. So I know that Prince was a Hare Krishna, right?
Prince was Hare Krishna?
I think he was, wasn't he?
I don't think. No, I would have known about that. The George Harrison was.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Prince is something interesting. I don't know. I should have my fact checker look it up.
He was like a Scientologist or something.
No, Prince I think he is something interesting. I'll get back to it. Okay, so what the hell was that like?
It was dope.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude.
Did you wear the outfits? Did you guys hang out at the airport?
A little bit. Okay, so when I was 1, we moved to a new Hare Krishna. I call it a commune because it's just the easiest thing to imagine. But they own this big 1,700-acre beautiful valley in the middle of nowhere in Canada. And, everybody has their own house. Everyone has an autonomous household, Still get together and do community stuff and build the temple and work on stuff. And it everyone's united under the same goal, which is Prabhupada's vision, who was the guy who brought Krishna consciousness over from India, right? And but I'm a kid, so when I was there, it's just like normal kid stuff. So just growing up in the woods and doing Hare Krishna stuff,
the best
it all
way.
felt totally normal. Yeah.
Did you guys learn meditation?
We chanted a lot.
A lot of chanting.
Yeah. You got to chant the mantra.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That's it. And then you say that.
Yeah.
But you have to say it a lot, so I would say it really fast. So you got to say it 108 times. You have to count it around the beads, and then you say this other mantra, then you turn around and you count it again. and then you do that like 16 times. It takes like 2.5 hours.
Now, when you were a kid, did you question it? I was raised Catholic, and I kind of figured out I questioned it. This is a weird cycle.
I only questioned it while I was chanting. Every other time I just accepted it.
Yes.
But while I was chanting, I'm like, yo, this is so boring.
Yes.
I'm like, if I'm doing this for no reason, I'm going to be pissed. And I thought it was just also an established fact. I remember saying to my friend growing up, I'm like, what if like sometime in the future, somebody finds out that Krishna isn't real? What would happen? You know, I just remember having that thought. And then, so I'd think that while I was chanting. And then I'm like, yeah, what if I'm just making these random sounds, holding these beads, and it actually is doing nothing? But honestly, though, when I chant that mantra as an adult, it does like kind of help with my anxiety and stuff. And I think there's some benefit to it.
I think there is. Prayer is like setting intention. It's like in the Catholic Church, they do like the Hail Marys.
Yeah.
And the Our Fathers, and you go in there and you confess your sins.
Yeah.
You have to make that up when you're a little kid because you don't even know what the hell you're supposed to say. And then they give you Hail Marys. But I remember as a kid thinking like, well, this is nonsense.
Dude, I've come full circle with like Hare Krishna stuff, spiritual stuff, all that stuff. Like, so like growing up, I'm like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Then around 18, 19, 20, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. I can't believe I was like around that. I don't want anything to do with it. And then I just did comedy for a while. And then over the past couple of years, I've just kind of warmed up to it a lot more since I don't really have like resentments towards it anymore. And I see it as like, I'm like, oh, this is great. And I started like actually reading the books and studying. I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Well, it's
I'm not going to shave my head and wear pink robes, but
well, I figured to me, I like costuming. That would be like the only part of the whole experience I would be into. The other
really,
stuff, I'm into costuming.
Yeah, that makes
good costumes. Good.
There's some good costumes,
but there's I think it's fun. Like when I went through a similar phase. I rejected it, but I think if you appreciate it as a metaphor and a teaching tool, and then don't get too literal, I think it would help the whole world. If we've just solved all the world's problems to metaphor. So, okay, you're growing up in this, you're doing the Hare Krishna stuff. Did you have to have the shaved head in the outfit when you were a kid?
No, I only shaved my head on like, I had the sika. The Hare Krishna, they shave their head, right?
Yeah.
And they have this thing in the back, and they let that grow, and they call that a sika, right?
So it's kind of like like a skullet almost.
It's like a mullet, but just a little bit.
See, I talked about this on one of my episodes. A lot of people don't know this, but the CIA, Jesus had a mullet, and it's basically, it balances. It's the perfect power. It's the long and the short and the long, the skinny and the fat. It's both. It's the most powerful place you can be, and that's probably where that came from. And a lot of people don't know this, but the CIA has created out this huge disinformation campaign to demonize the mullet.
Interesting.
So you're learning something here.
So let me explain the sika and why somebody told me to do it, and I'll tell you what I thought about it when I was so. When I was 4 or 5, I was like, "How come we have their hair like that?" And then my friend's mom said, "The reason why we grow a sika is so that when you die, Krishna can pull you up to heaven." By your ponytail, by your rat tail.
That's amazing.
Right? And I'm like, okay. First of all, I think I'm gonna find my own way up there. I think I'll figure out a different way to get up there, you know. But then I was also thinking, like, is it heaven if everybody up there has a rat tail? Because that sounds like Florida, not heaven.
Yeah, that would be tough. If heaven is Florida, which makes sense.
I mean, Florida is heaven, dude. Nobody wears masks. They fucking live their life, dude.
They're really going for it. Okay, so you're a kid, you're doing this.
Ooh, fun fact.
Yes.
Did you know, I've been reading a lot about coronavirus, and I'm studying, and I'm compiling notes. Did you know COVID only affects you if you're a liberal pussy?
I see that.
You didn't know that?
Apparently.
I mean, why do people in the South not wear masks?
Because they get it. That's because they have Jesus on their side.
Exactly, because they're not liberal pussies.
Well, I think I would rather actually have COVID than get the vaccine, and I think it would be I was thinking about COVID is actually the most un-American. This whole thing has been the most un-American response to it.
Dude, I'd rather have COVID than have to listen to anything Gavin Newsom tells me what to do.
It's true. So think about this. It's America. It's the most unsafe. Like, we wouldn't have seatbelts if it wasn't for Ralph Nader.
Right.
Like, it's all about making as much money as possible. And if you get
Ralph
hurt.
Nader on the ballot this year?
No, but he should be.
Yeah.
If you get hurt, it doesn't matter. So the fact that we are destroying the economy so a few people can't die is not very American.
No.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah.
Because it's all about, we don't care about you. We don't even give people health care, but we're concerned about them dying of COVID.
Also, the way things are run here are so bad, and no one uses their brain. So I'm like, I've been wondering, like, I'm one of the few people who spent time in California, and I've spent time in Canada during this pandemic. I've spent about 3 months in California and 5 months in Canada. So I've seen how both places operate, right? Canada has way less cases. I mean, way less. Especially the west coast of Canada is way less. And
do you think it might be because it's not as populous?
Nobody there wears masks, which is interesting. I wore a mask like 3 times in 5 months. Nobody wears masks. Canada thinks they're so great, and I see people posting on social media and say, "Oh, these Americans don't wear masks." I've never walked into a store without a mask here, and when I'm in a store, every single person has a mask. Everywhere you go, everybody has a mask. There, nobody wears a mask. It 2 weeks ago just became mandated that you have to wear one on the bus, but they run things better. All their laws are better. When a restaurant is set up better, all their protocols are well thought out to spread. It's not just arbitrary rules, like here, gyms are open. They're like, oh, you just got to wear a mask, but nobody's wiping down equipment. There's no capacity I went to this gym in the Valley, and there was 9,000 people there, and they're like, oh, it's an outdoor gym. I'm like, there's tents and there's walls and there's AC blowing air around, which they think is good. I think it's bad because that's just going to mix up all the stuff people are breathing.
Well, I think if Donald Trump wasn't president and there wasn't so much hatred towards him, they just politicized all of this. So the whole response to it and everything is not really a normal response.
Well, it's politicized in every country because in Israel, the president of Israel is a right-wing guy, and he is lockdown. He's a hardcore lockdown guy, and all the left-wing people in Israel are the open it up people.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that interesting? So if country by country, it's just whatever one person says, everybody's going to do the opposite.
Yeah. It's if he really wanted to get himself reelected, he should have demanded that he should have been like, we need to lock everything down, and then they would have just done the opposite. Then he would have been forced to leave everything open, and the economy would be doing so well that he would.
Oh, interesting.
He never really played it correctly, because whatever he says, they're going to attack him the opposite. And then the thing that's worst about the left, not that this is some sort of political podcast, but he's a narcissistic megalomaniac. So it's really easy. All he wants is to be the guy. So all you would have to do is bait him into whatever you wanted. Just be like, you're the guy if you do this. And he would go right along and do that because he wants to have his face on Mount Rushmore. He'd have been like Truman. He would have been.
Also, this whole thing could have been avoided if Hillary Clinton didn't create COVID in her lab.
That's true. A lot of people don't know that.
To distract from the fact that she's eating children.
Everything to make it so Trump would lose is why, because Hillary created COVID.
Yeah, because she didn't want people to know that she's eating children in her basement, so she personally invented COVID.
Yeah, she's cooking pizzas and sacrificing kids, giving them to Moloch, so we can create a new world order and everyone gets a microchip. But that's okay because JFK Jr. faked his own death and is coming back and is going to save the planet.
Yep.
Along with he's working with Donald Trump, and what they're going to do is they're basically setting up the satanic cult power elite. They're walking into a trap because Trump is doing 10D chess moves.
Yep.
He's so far ahead of them. He's like 25 chess.
Amen.
They're playing checkers, and he's playing Monopoly chess, which is no one even's heard of it
Amen.
yet. He's got his own game. And so basically at any day now, JFK Jr. is going to come out, and he's going to then, I guess, be the president of he's going to announce that he's still, I remember that.
I guess he didn't finish his 2 terms.
JFK Jr. Well, he never was.
JFK Jr.
Yeah. Well, now he's JFK because the senior died.
Yeah, I guess true.
Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. When are you coming back, JFK Jr.?
Come save us from Hillary Clinton.
God, it's pretty bad. Well, we have the Harris. I think she's Hillary 2.0, but better.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both have that great that laugh.
Yeah.
The laugh that says, "I'm a sociopath."
What are you talking about? She's a queen, dude.
I'm excited. But if you're gonna hold on, all the great leaders in the world have been sociopaths.
True.
And you have to be, because if you have to be able to bomb and kill people.
Wait, which great leaders?
Well, Obama.
Yeah.
You name it. You name any of them, you have to Genghis Khan.
Yeah, that's why Justin Trudeau in Canada is such a bad leader.
He's not,
because he's not a sociopath. He's a cuck.
Yeah, that's a problem. You need to be. You have to have the ability to invade countries, take their resources, bomb them.
Yep.
And that's because you're on the right side of history. So get out there and vote, because you're on the right side of history because you're voting.
Yep.
And the one thing I'm excited is that whoever wins, I'm not sure who it will be. That's the one thing that's been interesting about Trump, is that we haven't gone to, I don't think we've done any more invading. But if we can get...
He's saving it up for next term, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking take over the world, dude.
I don't know who they're going to invade. They're going to invade Iran, Venezuela. That's why people listen to my podcast, is get the insight of the politics.
Well, what are the last 2 countries on the Rothschilds bank list, dude? It's Iran,
yeah,
and Venezuela.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, Iran, and then North Korea.
Oh yeah, no, I think Venezuela they have. So the Rothschilds have every country but Iran and North Korea, I believe. There's only 2 countries. That's fascinating.
Yeah, but that's all conspiracy stuff. I know that's true.
I know it's conspiracy, but isn't it? Has that been validated? That
everything's been debunked.
It has been debunked.
Everything's been debunked.
Really?
You know what's funny? If people don't know this, but Donald Trump is not even the president. It was debunked.
Oh, I didn't know
He's not. He wasn't even the president of the United States.
Well, if you tell me it's debunked, then I believe you.
It was on Snoops.
Oh, okay. Snoops is great.
Yeah, everything has been debunked.
The thing I like about Snoops is
Snoops. I call it Snoops.
The thing I like about Snoops is that it's just unadulterated, pure, uncut truth.
It's great because the guy is addicted.
Bipartisan, impartial, unadulterated, perfect truth.
It's good. He's into women. I think he got a divorce, and then he has a porn actress girlfriend. And I think he spends a lot. I think he's financed his sex addiction. That's what I heard. And then they didn't debunk it. It was put out in the press by the BBC, and then Snoops didn't debunk it.
Nice.
So apparently that's what's going on over there. So what was going on? How did you decide that at what point you're like, okay, I'm going to be a comedian?
I was 19 years old, and I had given up on my dreams of being a fighter in the UFC. I was not.
That's a big dream.
It was a big dream, and I was
There's always someone tougher.
nowhere close to. I mean, I wasn't. It was the most delusional dream. I mean, I wanted to fight in the UFC.
You seriously wanted to be a fighter in the UFC?
I dedicated so much time and energy for. Really? I mean, I wrestled throughout high school. And I did jiu-jitsu, and after high school, I was training like 4 hours a day, and I wasn't like that great, you know. But yeah, I probably definitely wouldn't have made it. I realized I didn't actually like getting hit in the face. Yeah, I don't even like getting hit in the nose. It fucking hurts. It sucks.
Yeah, no.
And then I went traveling for a bit, and on my travels, I had some fun. I stopped training and I picked up a cigarette addiction. Started partying a lot more. And then I came back. I was like, all right, I'll start.
This is when you left the religion scenario. Were you very religious, like in high school and stuff? Like,
dude, I was religious till like the age of like 19.
And then that's when you were like, I got to go on my own journey.
Yeah. It was a very gradual thing. It was almost like I was religious till the age of 19. And then I just got like, just so preoccupied in my own life. I'm like, dude, I haven't even seen a Hare Krishna person in like 2 years. So I'm like, and then I just stopped giving a shit. And then I'm like, wait a second, I don't really like that anymore. And then I started just judging people that were into it. And I'm like, man, you guys still doing that shit? Damn, that's whack.
But then you look at all the different types of religions, and there's really, everyone has their own bizarre.
But now I've moved back into the commune.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, right now.
Full circle.
I'm currently renting a place in the commune, and it's fucking awesome.
This is amazing.
Yeah, dude, I'm back. I'm part of the community. I help out around the temple. I help out around the school.
This is great.
Yeah, dude.
So now were you raised there? Or
for the first 12 years of my life.
Okay, so you've come back. You get to see people you haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, saw people I haven't seen in a long time. It's dope.
How do they feel about you coming to Los Angeles?
They think it's great.
All this stuff, they're into it.
Everyone's very supportive. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Now they don't know all the jokes that I say.
Do you make fun of?
Actually, none of my Hare Krishna jokes are that offensive on stage. Yeah,
well, I think they used to be very popular in Los Angeles, like in the 70s.
Yeah, they're still
the
temple here is still active.
Yeah, they were so well known because they'd be at the airports in the outfits, and but it was a very beautiful, save the planet. It's all about love and being kind.
Yeah, it was great. All the cool hippies were into it back in the day.
Yeah, why is it not as popular, you think?
It's like it requires a lot.
It's a big commitment.
Everybody wants to just be casual.
It's kind of like
they want to dip their toes in. It's hard. It's difficult to just dip your toes in
because you have to do the look, right? Do you have to have the hair and stuff? Is that part of
no,
like if you're do they look at you like you're not legit?
The way I describe it, it's like Jewish people, right?
Yeah,
you
got Orthodox
Jewish people, and then you got the Hasidic Jewish people, right?
Where they have great costuming.
They have great costume, and the hat's great.
Right.
So when you meet someone, they're like, "Oh, I'm Jewish," right? And you're like, "Oh, great, you're Jewish." You know, it's like, "Are you religious?" You know, and some are religious Jews, but they just, they're chill about it, and then others are. That's the way Hare Krishnas are. So there's more than you think there are.
That's great.
But I don't know. It's just you're either in or you're out. I mean,
but I don't really know much about that religion at all. I just thought it's interesting living on a commune.
Yeah, I call it. It's hard to describe.
But that's just a community of people that all share the same faith.
Yeah, same goals. There's like one big.
That's easy.
Yeah, it's
like a fraternity.
Yeah.
Without the fraternity aspect.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of community. There's community garden. There's community things people do, and everybody gets together all the time. It's like it's great.
That's beautiful.
It was dope growing up there too. You could show up at anybody's house and they'll feed you and stuff, and it's like it's great.
That's probably like the best way to grow up.
It was pretty cool. I mean, we had no phones. Nobody had a phone.
Perfect.
Nobody had an address.
So people know how to have
dirt
a
roads.
Conversation.
Yeah, I think so. Except for me, I somehow didn't learn, but that's okay. And then,
it's okay.
You know what's crazy? Even there, like as far as you can go from society, Jehovah's Witnesses would still show up and find us. Yeah, my family. We lived in a teepee. They came and knocked on our teepee.
That's what Prince is, a Jehovah's Witness. Okay, so you decided you were traveling and you're thinking you're 19 and then you're going to give up on becoming an IFC champion. UFC. And then you're going to become an IFC, Independent Film Channel champion of wrestling. So then you're going to, because it's a big jump to stand up in front of people and I'm going to become a stand-up comic.
I'd always been a fan of comedy.
And were you always like a funny kid?
No.
Oh, that's even better.
Dude, I'm still not funny.
That's great.
I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I was like funny. I was funny around people that brought it out with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was funny. I wasn't confident, So if I was in a situation where I felt comfortable, then I was very funny. Yeah.
You weren't obnoxious and like, look at me attention. You were
yeah.
I appreciate
Unless I was around like people I didn't respect.
I had
like substitute teachers and stuff. Then I was
then you'd bring the A game.
Dude. Yeah.
I had a fancy manager. I can't remember which one it was, but he told me, because it's nice that you're not running your act on me.
Yeah,
dude. Could be normal when it's like you're on the stage, do your thing, or
I fit like 2 of my stand-up jokes into this conversation.
Well, you should, because you're a professional.
Yeah.
You're subtle.
I would never do that if we weren't on the mic. I would never do that.
That's
to you
part of the job.
Ever, dude.
That's the job.
When I hang out with comic, dude, I remember I hung out with some comics one time. We were in a green room, and this one comic walks in, and this guy was like obnoxious. He had the blazer, he had the whole thing, like out of a time machine from the 80s, right? And he just wouldn't stop name dropping about how successful he was, even though no one knew who he was or cared about him, and we all knew he wasn't successful. And he walks in the green room and he goes, "Hey guys, I was driving down Fairfax the other day, and I drove past all those Ethiopian restaurants." I'm like, "Ethiopian restaurants? What do they have to eat?" And we all just shot daggers at him, and we were like, "Are you running a fucking bit on us?" Not only is that he was running a bit, it was like one of the hackiest bits of all time.
That's brutal.
Everyone knows the joke about Ethiopian restaurants.
That's terrible.
Oh, so bad.
Okay, so now you're like, I'm gonna do stand up. What was like did you just all of a sudden get on stage and do this? Do you have friends that were comedians?
I had a friend. So my first time doing stand up, my friend Anthony, me and him, we came up with this idea. We just wanted to like promote a live stand-up show. We didn't know anything about it. It would be like a fun like idea to like make money, you know?
Oh, okay. Like
sell tickets, maybe hire comedians or something. And we went to this restaurant and we pitched them the idea, and they're like, "Oh, we already have a comedy night. It's gonna be in 2 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And they're like, "Are you guys comedians? You want to do the show?" And we were just like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "Great. How much time do you want to do?" We're like, 10 minutes.
And where was this? This is in Canada?
On Vancouver Island.
Okay.
And we're like, "Oh my God, we're going to do it." And it was so exciting. It was like the most exciting thing ever. I remember it now. I was like, this is the most exciting thing ever. Because it was just like, I went from like doing nothing to like, I don't know. It's just, I like instantly, before I even started working on my 10 minutes, I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. We went and we like sat down, we like wrote jokes, and they were actually like decent jokes that had a real setup and a real punchline and stuff. And
okay, so you were been a fan of stand-up your whole life, so you kind of
always watched it growing up. In Canada, they played Just for Laughs highlights like all day, every day on TV. So I'd always grown up watching that, and I always understood. I couldn't articulate, but you don't even articulate like how to do stand-ups, like what a callback was and all these things, but you don't really need to be able to articulate things to do them, if that makes sense. I just kind of just knew deep down what I was supposed to be doing. So I just like started writing jokes. We went up and we did it as like a comedy duo because we were like too afraid to go up by ourselves. And we had none of the dynamic of a duo. We had like, there was no like cool thing and we just kind of like took turns saying jokes almost and kind of talked to each other. And we did pretty good, dude. I mean, we got lots of laughs, and it was an easy crowd, and it was a great crowd. We had friends in the crowd, but it was like, damn, dude, that was dope. Did it a couple more times with him. He didn't really want to pursue it at all, and so I was like, dude, I'm just gonna keep doing it. He's like, yeah, do you? And so we just went all out, and just like I did stand up like 5 times, and where I lived, you couldn't really get on stage, often. Like you get on stage like once a month. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to get good getting on stage once a month. And so I found this website that had a listing of all the New York open mics. And I was like, dude, there's like 50 open mics a day. I'm like, I could just go to New York and just do 1 billion open mics and get good at it. So I saved up like $900 and just abandoned all my stuff and just went to New York with no job or anything.
Oh, wow. How old are you?
20.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But I had family that lived in New Jersey, like an hour and a half outside of the city. So I knew worst case scenario, I had a couch I could sleep on. And I went and did that. And I ran out of money almost immediately. I didn't buy anything. It was just gone. And then I was broke. I slept on their couch, and I would take the bus into the city, and then I got a job, and then I figured it out, and I started performing and working on it, and then and things were sweet. And then after like a year, Came out here to check it out because I always wanted to see what the Comedy Store was all about, and then instantly fell in love. And I saw people were being door guys, and I was like, I need to do that. I need to become a door guy. So I just like signed up for the open mic like every day for like a year, and I freaking did it. And I worked my way up and grinded and became a door guy.
When you became a door guy, did you have to you had to audition for Missy?
It's like
Did you still do that? Oh,
no, not Missy. No, I've never met Missy. I've never seen her. It was for the talent coordinator. It was for the talent coordinator at the time. His name was Tommy, and it was just like an ongoing audition. Nobody just shows up and performs once and gets passed. But it's like you kind of like there's so many comedians and so little spots.
Yeah.
So you're just like it's just a lifelong audition. It's an on and off stage audition. You have to be cool off stage too. People have to like having you around.
Yeah. Well, the Comedy Store has definitely evolved. So you became a doorman. How long ago was this?
Like 7 years ago.
7 years ago. So you were at the Comedy Store when it was probably the height of like comedy is back.
No, when I became a door guy, Comedy Store fucking sucked.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That wasn't it. That was in 2000.
I started in 2013.
13.
And it freaking sucked.
Really?
It was so bad.
Why was it so bad?
The biggest name there was Bobby Lee, and the second biggest was Crystalia. Crystalia went on to be a bigger name and then not.
But I would think that like the podcasting world.
No, this was like at the beginning. So
yeah.
I was like an early adapter almost. Like I started listening to podcasts early. Mm-hmm. So I just knew about it. So I was there like right away, which was dope.
Yeah.
So I got in there like 2013. It was dead.
Okay.
Right? And like it was just a slow club that no one liked going to. It had a lot of bringer shows. Oh, yeah. It was like the worst shows ever. But then by 2015,
it blew up.
It blew up.
And do you think was that because like Joe Rogan
came back?
Okay.
Joe Rogan wasn't performing. He came back and brought with him a lot of bigger people, which caused like a positive feedback loop, and more bigger people started coming by, and it just became like and so many different cool things were happening. Various independent shows were being produced that were kind of cool. It just became like a scene, and then it became like a fun hang, and new talent coordinator, new management, and everything just started like running smoothly, and it was so attractive for audience members, and all the famous comedians wanted to come by and perform there, and it became like the club, the hangout, social club for all the big famous comedians and stuff, and it just kept getting busier and busier and busier and busier.
Well,
and
I
busier.
think then the Improv was sold to a corporation, and then because the Improv was a lot of fun to hang out, like in 98, 2000. The Comedy Store was too, but it was then they sold. I think they merged with a corporation. They kind of remodeled it. I think it might have lost some of its.
Yeah, Levity Live.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the original owner still owns. I don't know what the deal with the Improv is. I don't know anything about the Improv.
So
Improv's dope though.
Is it still a thing where if you're working at the Comedy Store, you were not going to hang out at the Improv?
No one gives a shit. There was none of that.
Gives a stuff.
No.
It was like early on, that was like a whole thing.
Every club has a few people that are like just improv guys or just store guys or just Laugh Factory guys, but none of them are that's only because they're not successful enough to do all the clubs.
Yeah, you have to be like a star.
You got to be
able to kill, and you need to be on some show. Well, at least when I first started doing stand-up in 98.
Now being on a show means nothing,
I know,
dude.
it's funny.
I mean, it's so funny. Being on a show, just at the Comedy Store alone, to become a paid regular is so competitive. There was tons of people that were, for years, trying to become paid regulars at the store that were series regulars on TV shows, big TV shows, and couldn't get in at the Comedy Store. Series regular meant almost nothing unless it was like a HBO show or some shit.
Good. That was when I first started doing stand up. There wasn't comedy wasn't as popular. The 98 the reality show world was a big deal. The internet wasn't what it was. So you'd have to be like on the Late Show, the Tonight Show. You'd have to have that.
Oh, the Tonight Show means even less.
Yeah, so and everything's changed.
Dude, I have so many friends that have been trying to become paid regulars at the Comedy Store forever, and they've done like 1 million late night appearances.
Wow.
podcasting is like the number one thing for being successful at comedy. And I still don't have a podcast.
That's great. But so if you have a massive podcast, that would translate into, you'd have a bigger supportive audience maybe?
People would just come out to see you.
Yeah,
it's not just like, it's not just the numbers. It's like the actual engagement. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can be on a TV show that gets viewed by like 2 million people a week or whatever and have like no fans, right?
Yes,
and like, and you're not gonna. But you could have a podcast where that's twice a week, or 75 to 150,000 people listen to, and you're like making bucks, and people are coming out to see you, and you're selling out tickets and stuff like that because it's a totally different relationship. Like people know you and freaking love you, dude.
They feel
eventually
they know
when
you
this
well.
podcast blows up, people are gonna come up to you and be like, dude, like I like know you, which is pretty crazy.
That's I don't know if that's a good thing. No, I'm kidding. So the thing that's the fascinating phenomenon. I don't know this as well, but I feel that people, like when you watch a television show, you know the character of that show, but you don't really know the person who plays that character.
Right.
But with a podcast, you feel you know this person is like your best friend or someone that you're, and so you have a different relationship. If you're going to go see their show or something, which is fascinating. So it's totally changed the entire landscape of stand-up.
Oh, yeah. For example, like some people will listen to a podcast and, you know, it'll inspire them to buy a ticket to their show. I listened to all the comedy podcasts and then just said, fuck it, I'm going to go there and do that.
That's amazing. So there's probably, I was talking to a comedian friend of mine, and she said that there's so many comedians now. Mm-hmm. It's probably inspired a whole world. The stand-up world, there's probably more comics now.
Too many.
Yeah, everyone's a comedian.
Everyone.
And so 98, 2000, it was a lot of like actors that were trying to get 5 minutes. They were like an actor that would do like a 5-minute set.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
they wanted because back then it's like you have a dope 5 minutes and you have like marketable qualities.
Yeah.
You get signed by an agent. It's very old school, and then you go to Just for Laughs and then you do your 5 minutes. If you kill, you leave with like a $2 million development deal, which is crazy. There was comics that do comedy for like 2 years and we were millionaires. That doesn't happen today. That's so dope. I want that.
So you're doing stand-up, you're developing your act, and then there's phases that some people may know if you don't know about the world of stand-up, but you're trying to first put together first like 5-minute set, which would be like a television set. You would do hosting. Then you want to try to become a feature where you would have like headliner comedians that would let you open for them. Then you get like to do like that could be a 15-minute set, 20-minute set. And you could work as a feature comic, and then you want to evolve into being a headliner. So now you're working at the Comedy Store. Mm-hmm. And then you've evolved into, you've got to open for a bunch of great comics and gone on the road with them. What was that experience like? Going from like, first you just want to be able to kill.
Yeah.
Then you want to get like be able to even get to stand-up places. Then you become a comedy store.
And you're miserable the whole way because you want that next thing. And you're getting, and I'm like, you know, I'm steadily progressing, but I'm just like, I want that next thing. I'm not grateful for anything that I've accomplished in the past.
So how long have you been doing stand-up?
10 years.
Okay.
9 years, 9.5. I don't know.
They say it takes 10 years to become like a headliner.
Figure out. I started headlining this year.
That's perfect. You're en route. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then you kind of figure out like by 10 years, it takes that long for someone to really understand what their point of view is.
I don't know my point of view at all.
Well, you figure it out from like your act somewhat. You can kind of start doing the math. You'll have a disposition. Now, some people are really lame. They're just like,
because on stage, I'm just like this nice guy. I'm just like a fucking sweetheart and stuff. But like, really, I just want to go and just like, you know, just let it rip.
Let it rip.
I don't know. Really, I just want to go up there and just, you know, just be a guitar act. But I'm just too afraid to bring a guitar on stage and
just do the songs.
I don't know how to play a guitar yet either.
They never got any respect. Do you remember Henry Phillips?
Name sounds familiar.
He's great. Okay, so break down this whole process. Now you're doing features. Yep. When was like the moment you're like, this might work out? Did you ever have that experience?
Not yet. Not yet, dude. I swear to God, dude. I mean, like, sometimes I'll like even look at like all the things that I've done. Like, that's cool. It's not nothing, you know?
When was the first, like, you got paid to do stand-up? Do Do you remember that?
My first time on stage.
That's
I got
impressive.
$50 my first time on stage. I'm like, this is fucking easy, dude.
And then, but you did the New York scene, right?
For the New York scene, I paid money to get on stage in New York.
That was like
every time I paid money every single time. I didn't get paid one time. You had to pay to perform. I paid every single time I went on stage. But I was like,
in front of
I
real
just figured
audiences?
like actors pay all this money for acting classes. This is my acting class. I'd pay like $5 every time or whatever.
Now, what kind of job were you doing in New York?
Bar backing, making
Good
bank. Dude. I was 20 years old, making $400 a day. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's great.
Yeah, but it was like the most grueling labor ever. When did I first feel like I'm like, oh, I can do this thing? Maybe like when I got to open for Bill Burr. I'm like my favorite comedian.
How did that experience happen?
What's that?
How did that happen? You'd see Bill at the Comedy Store.
I'd seen him around the Comedy Store. He had complimented me a few times when I got off stage. I'm like, fuck, and I didn't think anything of it. And I'm like, oh no way, dude. I thought he was just being nice. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, he probably just says that to every young comic that walks by or whatever. And then he complimented me, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then my friend came up to me after. He's like, dude, when you were on stage, Bill Burr leaned over to me, and he's like, hey, this guy's really solid. I'm like, oh shit, fuck yeah. And so he had complimented me twice, and then I found out I'm going to be in the same city as him. And so I managed to get someone to show him a video of mine because I figured he still didn't know who I was. And someone showed him this video, and he loved it. And he's like, yeah, dude, tell him to come by. You can host the shows. And these are like 4,000 seat theaters. And I found out, I'm like, oh my God, yes. And I also lied. I said I was in that city, but I wasn't in that city. And then he said, yeah. And so I was like, yeah. And so I flew up there. Because when you're asking someone to open, you don't want to be like, yeah, and that's too much pressure. It's an easier ask if you say, dude, I'm already there. So it's just no pressure, And then he said, yes. So I flew up there. He didn't know that. And I did it, and it was like amazing. He like told some like industry people to come out and see me too. And this is part of it was at Just for Laughs, Vancouver.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like, damn, dude, my favorite comedians like let me open for him and like helping me out and shit and introducing me to people. I'm like, this is amazing. And he was like, yeah, he was really like at the festival, like to all the industry that was there. Like, hey, you guys got to check this guy out and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
So you got a host for open a show at Just for Laughs, or he was doing a show in Vancouver?
He was like the biggest act at Just for Laughs.
Okay, and that's wow, and you got to host for him at Just for Laughs.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah,
what a hell of an opportunity.
Yeah, we did like 4 shows, 4,000 seats, and then I got to do it again. And then I was like, maybe I fucking suck at comedy. Then I got to do it again a year later or 2 years later, which is still dope.
Wow. Okay, so doing stand-up in a room full of like a couple hundred people is a completely different experience than doing stand-up in front of 4,000 people. There's like a delay in delivering a punchline, and
it's honestly, it's so much easier. It's so easy when you have 4,000 people, because like even if your joke sucks, like 1,000 of them will laugh loud enough to like think it's funny, But like when you get when you're like crushing with 4,000 people, it feels so good, dude.
So was that the most amount of people you had performed in front of? Okay. How did you, what was when you first went out and did because your hosting's different because you got to warm the crowd up, right? And then you just opened to perform and then brought him out, or did you bring up a feature?
I just open and then bring up the feature, and the feature brings him up.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a little bit less pressure.
Yeah.
But that's still a wonderful experience.
Oh, it's like the coolest thing ever.
Holy shit. That's amazing.
So dope.
Because the one people to be a host is it's a very important job because you got to set up the feature, you got to create the energy of the show. You're going out there, it's cold. I was so nervous, dude. 4,000 people in front of my idol that's like letting me open the show and shit. I was like so nervous, and all this industry and stuff there, and then I freaking killed it, dude. So so you want to be a fighter, and then you realize that's what stand up is a fight.
I for my first few years I was always comparing it with like just jabs and leaning back and stuff like that.
Because you're going out there and when I used to do stand up, it would be, if you weren't famous, I'm sure it's a little bit different now, I think, but it's kind of like, fuck you, you're not funny, prove it. I went and saw a show. I didn't, but I just remember the audiences were it's more, everyone's really supportive. They seem to be, but I think New York's different. Years ago, it seemed to be a lot like, I'm not laughing unless you're really funny. Like they want to not like you.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
And that's kind of the game. Is if you
I've
have
had
to
so
get
many
a
people.
laugh
I've had
first.
so many people come up to me after a set, and they'll literally they've said to me, "Hey, when you walked on stage, I didn't want to like you, but then you were funny." I'm like, oh man,
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, because you almost have to. Sometimes you have to look like a caricature.
Right.
Like the more trouble
most
your life
comedians look
is.
like dog shit.
Yeah, they look like their life is so terrible that you.
Yeah, and I just, I eat healthy, and
you're a healthy,
try
good-looking
to
guy.
present myself, and they're like, oh, this guy's gonna fucking be a dick. Fuck this guy, and then I do good, and then they like me.
You have to get
energy.
You have to get a laugh the first few seconds. It's got to be your best joke, right off the bat. You got to fucking hit them.
Yeah,
funny.
gotta.
Okay, so you're in Vancouver. You do this for Just for Laughs. What an amazing experience!
And then I come back, and then immediately did some open mic and bombed, and I'm like, yeah, there we go, dude. Back to reality, bro.
Wow, that's a great.
Every
experience.
time I ever do something cool in comedy, I always do a shitty open mic to humble myself after. When I did a pilot for NBC, and it was like my first like acting gig, and like a trailer for a couple days on the Universal lot and stuff. And every night I'd film that, I'd like go do some shitty open mic just to like humble myself. And it felt good to like go to set, to stage, you know what I mean? And then and then I did another TV thing, and I did that, and then I went and
well, you did a guest star on Modern Family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that whole experience.
That was pretty sweet.
I mean, that show's hilarious.
Yeah. I got the audition, and then I was like, oh, I can do this role, because it was pretty close to like how I sound and act. I'm like, I can do that because I don't really know how to act that well, and I just worked super hard on it. And my friend Max Carver coached me. Shout out to him. He's gonna be on the new Batman, and I did the audition, and I didn't think I was gonna get it, and then I auditioned on a Monday, and it was shooting on a Wednesday. And then on a Tuesday, I had a flight to Vancouver to do a show. And I was like, all right, well, if I don't hear by the time I flight, that means I didn't get it, because they're shooting the next day, and then you have to have a dress, go do wardrobe and all that stuff. And then so like Tuesday happened. I'm like, oh, I guess I didn't get it. I guess I'm just going to go to Vancouver. And I went to the airport, and I was like waiting at the airport, and I was kind of bummed, but I was like, all right, well, I should just start getting excited for this trip. And then I was like walking onto the plane. I was
my God.
I like had already, like, they scanned my ticket. I was like in the thing, the walkway thing. And I was like, oh, I should check my phone before I lose signal. And I check my phone, and I get the text saying I got the part.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and I thought it was going to be like a text like, hey, thanks for auditioning, but like, hey, they liked you, but it's just not the right thing. And I was like, and I'm like, and I'll do like when I think about that, I like freak out.
Like like you could have almost, the plane could have shut.
I would have had to get off the plane, immediately get on, and fly back.
Oh God, that'd have been an ordeal.
It did, and the whole day was such an ordeal though, because then like I got it right, and then I like, took off, and then was like went home, and then they were like, hey, can you come to set right now for wardrobe? I'm like, yeah. So I like drop my bags off, immediately go to set, do the thing. Oh, also I had a broken wrist and elbow. Do you remember when I had that cast for like 5 months? Yeah. I had a broken wrist and elbow. I took it off for the audition and the shoot, and I didn't want them to know, because I didn't want to be a liability.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then
this is what it takes if you want to make it, folks.
Yeah, dude, you can't fuck around, dude. You just you can't fucking willy-nilly do shit. You got to be a fucking psycho. You literally have to have a broken arm and be willing to. And the top of every scene we shot the scene 9,000 times, and I shook her hand at the top of the scene every single time. And then Matthew McConaughey was standing like 2 feet away from me when I found out too. That was pretty cool.
Oh, he was at the airport?
Yeah. Like when I got off the thing, he was trying on sunglasses. I'm like, that just makes the moment more surreal.
His character in Wooderson that made him his whole thing. We loved that movie as a kid in college. And I first moved out here to Los Angeles, and it was like in 1998, and I was bartending at Joffrey's, and I remember after work we went to Duke's, and he was there. And I looked over, he was like right next to me. I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Wooderson. And I was like, can I buy you a drink? And he goes, yes, but whatever you do, just don't say the Lord's name in vain.
Nice.
And it was just one of those,
Fuck
it was
yeah,
one of those
dude.
moments where like, am I like the Satanist that can't stop saying, God damn it? I was like, what is going, it was so bizarre, but then it was kind of wonderful at the same time. I was like, sure, that's not a problem. I won't, here's your,
That's great.
I just
dude.
wanted to buy the guy. It's no, I'm like, that's it. That's all.
That's great. Oh,
We're not going to talk. We're
Oh,
just going to give you a drink.
yeah. So then I got it, and then I
Yeah.
went to the thing, and then immediately I get a call from my agent. They're like, "Oh, you have to go join SAG right now."
Oh, you got to put down
I'm like-
$3,300?
I'm like, "Are you fucking?" I had no money.
Oh,
I'm like, "I have to join SAG right now." They're like, "Yeah, dude. If you don't out there," I'm like, "Your SAG must join." I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
okay. So you're
And I started Googling, and I started freaking out. I literally thought I lost it, because I thought it takes like a certain amount of time to like join SAG and stuff. And I was like, so I like fucking went to the SAG building, was like freaking out, like frantically filling out the papers. And I didn't have the money, so I just like, I was able to come up with like $1,200. So
Didn't they get to like a partial payment or something? I think
yeah,
I had to do that.
$1,200, and then $400 a month for the next 6 months. Like mafia shit, dude.
That's aggressive.
So that fucking sucked. I ended up making it back, but it fucking sucked.
I was in a cast in a feature film, and I was a must join, and I had to.
So you probably made like $2,000 and then had to spend $3,000.
I don't know how much I made on that film. Not that much money though. Like whatever the minimum SAG was, and I worked on it for 4 days.
Right.
The one thing I've noticed from like comics and stuff that do stand up and the people that transition into the acting world, if the comic does like really over the top stand up, they don't necessarily translate very well as acting. But a lot of the comedians have more of a subtle approach, because you're delivering a line. You're already in front of a crowd. It's the same thing as on a set. It's impossible to be in front of that many people. So if you can naturally do that, you're gonna do well. I know that like except Robin Williams was he was a great actor, and he was way over the top. Did you feel? But did you have acting? Did you ever do any like acting classes or anything? You just did straight stand-up, right?
I did like a 3-week acting intensive.
Okay, that's good.
That I don't remember anything I learned. I did this one class for a couple months. You just kind of like did hip thrusts and cried for a little bit. And it was good.
So you got into the acting cult world. You went into that.
Yeah, you do these hip thrusts and
Loosen
conjure
your
up
chakra.
all your resentments from childhood to just get them to the front. So I ended up being really emotional and resentful. It didn't teach you how to cope with it. It just taught you how to bring them up, you know?
Yeah,
It worked because I was pissed off all the time.
that's hilarious. I think a lot of the acting classes really destroy people, and they just get in their head about stuff.
Dude, you got to be careful. That's like, I didn't realize it. It's like you either
Well, if you can improv,
tapping into all your dark shit if you haven't actually resolved it.
yeah,
That's could be why there's a lot of messed up actors out there.
they get into a character and they can't come out of it. I don't understand that myself. I don't get it if you can't like understand. But if you don't know who the fuck you are, I guess.
Dude, my acting is just like, can I read and memorize lines and then
deliver the line.
yeah, it's
all
not
it
that
is.
hard, dude. Unless you're like crying and shit.
Yeah, you just play yourself real in the situation.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what I live right behind. I live in a guest house, and I work for this family. And the house we lived behind was Billy Bob Thornton. And I worked for this family that was like socialites and stuff. And I befriended him. And this is a long time ago. And it was really weird because I saw the movie Sling Blade, and I wanted to become a character actor. And I remember I had a very attractive girlfriend, and because of that, he befriended me because he's just like, who is this girl? And then here's this funny character. And so we became buddies. I'd come home, and then he'd
Did
be
he
outside
bang your
smoking.
girlfriend?
No, but he could have probably.
Did he try to?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
I mean, who knows? No.
You sounded like disappointed. No, he didn't.
I mean,
man.
it didn't. We were towards the end of our. He and Angelina Jolie had just left. They had just and they had 3 of his friends died. But the point was, he told me, I was in this acting class with all these working actors, and I wasn't doing all the stuff they were doing. I was just kind of doing my own thing. And then a couple people in the class were like, you're going to be a working actor, you're blah, 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 which I thought all of it was kind of comical because I came from the point of view of it, like a comedic point of view. And then I remember with him, he was telling me about his first experience being in an acting class and stuff. And he said that like when people would ask him in interviews, like to describe his method, and he just goes, I don't have one. I just play myself real in the situation. And that's all I had to hear was like, oh shit, I'm already naturally doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. So now you're going to become a superstar.
You don't need a class. Like my acting, it's like, here's my range. It's a tiny little range and I can do that pretty good. And basically when I do the lines, I just go and I just listen to myself and I go, did I sound actory? Let me see if I can do that again. And I can literally feel it in my chest. If I feel actory, my chest tightens up just a tiny bit. Yeah. And I go, okay, I'm not talking naturally, because when I'm talking naturally, I'm talking like this.
You're comfortable. Yeah.
I don't even know how to talk. I also sound like an idiot. I have like a speech impediment. I'm trying to sometimes if I'm talking slow, it's because I'm trying not to sometimes I'll just skip words. Maybe I mumble, but I'll just skip a word. I'm like, you get it.
I have a hard time pronouncing words. I think I've said something I haven't. So this is a great thing. So you're doing stand-up. Mm-hmm. You're in front of all these people delivering. You've done like guest spot. You acted in a television show. Now, you've set yourself up to you're going to become a Hollywood superstar right here.
Right now?
Saw it right here.
Podcast?
Yeah, this is it. Now you have to become like the biggest movie star on the planet.
Dude,
so this podcast can really take off.
Yeah.
How soon can this happen? What's the next thing?
I think my way to make it
is
I don't know. I don't give a shit, dude. I'm renting a cabin in the woods, bro. I don't give a fuck. I got enough firewood for the winter. I got enough firewood to get me through the winter, and I got like 80 pounds of dried lentils. So fucking.
Do you think you're gonna come back to Los Angeles? Because during the pandemic, you went up to Canada to not have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Do you feel you're gonna come back here?
Yeah.
Once it's not so crazy.
It's funny. The whole time I was up there, I really didn't want to come back. And I was like, fuck, I got to come back for a few weeks because I don't want to quarantine when I go back. But I went from like, it was snowing and kind of cold when I left. And then today I like went and played beach volleyball and swam in the ocean in late October. And I'm like, fuck, that's pretty good. I don't know, dude. I think I'm going to be bi-coastal on the same coast. I'm going to live in both places. It's nice to have fuck you money.
Yeah, they could do that.
I don't have fuck you money, but I have enough to rent a cabin, and I have 80 pounds of lentils, which feels like fuck you money. So like I go into an audition, and they're like, all these other actors that come like, I want the job. I'm like, bitch, I got 80 pounds worth of lentils.
And firewood.
I got enough firewood to get me through the winter, and I got 80 pounds worth of lentils. So I don't fucking need what you're offering, okay? I'm going to eat.
Now, I don't know. You might not know this, but I've part of this podcast is me doing a midlife crisis and trying to relate to the young people. And part of that is self-obsession and narcissism. And I just been talking about myself, and it's 7 shows in. It got too much, so I have to talk to other people. But I'm off. I am the first midlife crisis coach, the first pioneer. Do you have any advice for guys in their 40s to 65 that are thinking about a midlife crisis, may haven't approached it yet? Because
I'm in a midlife crisis right now.
You are. How old are you?
You're like 29.
This is great. This is very early though to get into a midlife crisis.
Like in the woods.
You think that this is good?
This could be like
this could be a mid. This could
quarter
be
life crisis. Hopefully, it's a quarter life crisis. I don't want it to be a midlife crisis. That'd mean I live to 58.
So I like that. So your approach is just to go to the woods and then like chop wood. I saw on Instagram you were like chainsawing wood.
Yeah.
You look like you could have been on the cover of Men's Health and Fitness. Like it was a pretty spectacular
thirst trapping at its finest.
That was impressive. I realized if I ever get really
good saw skills, right?
If you get really fit, you need to get a chainsaw and wood.
Yeah, dude.
Because you're just full flex. It was great. It was amazing. If you haven't, you got to. We'll have Abby's below in the video. If you go on YouTube, you'll get all of this.
Videos of me chopping wood, being a hunk.
You get on the Instagram, and you'll think, wow, this is my dream guy. For all the young ladies out there.
Ladies, if you're listening, I got enough wood to get us through the winter. Got 80 pounds for the lentils. I'm gonna buy a gun in Los Angeles, and I'm working on getting my gun license in Canada. Probably buy a handgun, so I'll have a handgun, enough wood to get us through the winter, and lots of dried lentils.
You could be cooking a fucking lumberjack.
I don't need to be a lumberjack. I'm just trying to survive, dude.
Get to the winter.
Yeah. So
how cold does it get? Does it get how far
cold
up north?
As fuck,
You're in Vancouver?
Dude. Yeah. So like my landlord at the cabin, he has to because I'm going to be gone when it's cold, he has to drain the pipes. And run a fire, because if it freezes, the pipes will explode.
Yeah, we can't have that.
Yeah, sometimes it gets real cold at night. It's cozy as shit, though. I got a loft. Ladies, if you're listening.
Get to Vancouver.
You can't, though, unless you're already in Canada.
They won't let anyone travel up there.
Oh, no filthy, stinky Americans.
Dude, they need to build a wall for Canada to keep the Americans out because they're coming.
Yep. I had to quarantine when I first got in. Fucking sucked, dude.
Okay, so who do you think is going to win this election?
Oh, Donald Trump.
You think he's going to win by?
Oh yeah, landslide.
What happens once he wins? How?
Riots.
Nonstop.
It's gonna be nonstop riots for like 2 weeks. It's gonna get crazy.
2 weeks, and then you think martial law comes down, or just
hopefully
National Guard.
Yeah, the thing is, if Biden wins, there's not going to be riots. So, I don't think.
Yeah,
I don't think Trump supporters are going to riot. If he wins, clearly, there won't be riots. But if Trump wins,
they'll contest it.
Who knows, dude? All I know is, come November 3rd, I'm going to be real cozy in my cabin with my firewood, pre-split.
Look, ladies, you might want to try to get up to Canada, get to Vancouver for the election.
Got a machete. I'll teach you how to light a fire. You can cook for me while I go,
You're going to end up on the Bachelor. You're going to be the new Bachelor.
Yeah, all the preppers are the new Bachelor guys, dude.
Do you find yourself watching prepper shows?
Prepper YouTube stuff. No, more like farming, homestead stuff. This trailer conversions. For the summer, I lived in a trailer. I bought a 1976 Rustler.
Oh, wow.
Foot.
Like a trailer that goes behind a pickup truck, right?
Yep. And then I bought the pickup truck to tow the trailer.
This is incredible.
Yeah, I got a Ford F-150, dude. I'm a real man. So, ladies, Ford F-150
Are you going to take this on the road and do your stand-up like you could do the trailer tour?
I would if it didn't get 10 miles to the gallon.
That's that good.
I drove my car back, cost $120. If I took my truck, it would have been $500 each way.
So the Ford 150 doesn't get very good gas
Ford
mileage?
F-150? No, it's the worst gas mileage. It's a big truck.
Oh, wow.
But it's great for hauling firewood.
So have you been able to... I saw that you were able to do some shows, do some stand-up.
In the month of July, I performed probably more than any other comedian in the world. I did 31 shows in July, all mostly headlining shows, because they closed the border and they didn't let successful American comedians in, so they have to give all the work to locals.
Oh, this is great.
Wink, wink, me, who's also American, but I'm there. So yeah, I scooped up a bunch of headlining work.
This is great.
Yeah, dude.
You want this to keep? You want this to continue?
Dude, my career's never been better since moving. I've never been getting more. I've been offered more spots and more auditions since I moved.
Well, that's the kind of the thing is being the stand up is you got to chase the stage time.
Yep.
And so you're nailing it.
Mm-hmm.
This is perfect. So if we can keep this pandemic going, you will dominate Canada.
Yep.
Are you traveling all throughout Canada or just kind of staying on the
West Coast? Yeah. East Coast Canada's got kind of a hot spot for COVID.
That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we should talk about?
We should talk about where are you gonna have wife and kids?
Am I gonna have wife and kids?
Yeah.
No. I don't need a child looking at me with absolute disappointment.
I want to have kids.
Do you? So that's really?
Yeah.
Do you have a lady in mind?
No.
So you got. I'm telling you what. If a woman out there is just trying to find the man of her dreams,
yep.
If I was casting The Bachelor, Dude, we would be contacting you right now.
Firewood.
He's a funny comedian. He's a survivor. He knows how to chop when
I have
he
a
has
Ford
lentils.
F-150. It still runs. 2005.
You could definitely be the most eligible bachelor here in the United States, in Los Angeles by far.
Yeah, I'm vegetarian, borderline vegan, sober.
Yeah, that's right. You're sober.
I have a brick of cash buried somewhere.
This is going to be on like a dating profile, and this whole podcast isn't edited through.
On Raya, my occupation is peanut farmer.
That's a good. Unless someone has a peanut allergy.
Yeah, well, fuck them.
Yeah,
they're not welcome, dude, because I'm eating peanut butter all day, dude. I would never date a girl if she just made me choose between her and peanut butter.
Oof, that's tough.
Fuck that. Bye.
Having a peanut allergy would be brutal.
Okay, what about cashews?
Cashew allergy? I've never heard of it.
If you have a peanut allergy, are you also allergic to cashews and nuts?
I don't know.
Question.
That's a really good.
Because I could live without peanut butter
Yeah.
if I could do cashew butter, because it's actually fucking amazing. But I gotta make them bucks.
That's true.
To buy cashew butter, because it isn't cheap. It's about $7 a jar as opposed to like $2-3 a jar. So if you force me to give up peanut butter, you better be massaging my back and encouraging me to take over the world so I can buy us cashew butter, because that shit's expensive.
Needs a lady has means that can help support the cashew butter if you have a peanut allergy.
But if not, if you don't have a peanut allergy and you like, you know.
So if you're in Canada, are you gonna be doing any shows in the near future?
No. If you want to, can I plug my Stereo? Yes. Follow me on Stereo app. Download app and then follow me on Stereo. If you like podcasts, you can. If you follow me, I'll follow you back, and you can just straight up call me anytime, and we can talk, and it'll be a live podcast. Shout out to Stereo app.
What is Stereo app?
I'm an official creator on Stereo app. Imagine Twitter. This is imagine Twitter, but you could call your followers, and when you're on the call, you're live podcast. And people are listening in. Yeah, it's really cool. I'll get you on it.
That's what I need.
I'll get you on as a creator.
Yes. Abby's taken over.
Yeah, dude.
So anything else I need to say?
And they pay me to do it.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Getting rich podcasting.
Yeah, so I've just been sitting in my cabin, podcasting, making bucks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
This is really good. Okay, I think we've done it.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, you're good, because I got to do something at 7:45. So
we did it. Thank you all for follow Abby. Check out all this
Abby
stuff.
Roberge. Should be links.
Yes, down below.
If you're listening on audio, ABBYROBERGE.
Perfect. Thank you so much, all of you. All the questions. We'll be back. Bye-bye.